Good morning, everybody.
Right.
It's 7 a.m. Welcome to a new Toastmasters year, and welcome to the first day of the Eisenach Cuellar Toastmasters 26-27 Deerwood Toastmasters season.
Is that the first lady now?
There are some people who are not here that I will get to in just a moment. But as far as any announcements go, just remember that next week we will be talking about the club success plan. That will be the theme is what is your why? And the club success plan is one of the ways we earn a higher status, higher stature within the district and within Toastmasters itself. Also remember, if you are an officer and you have not completed your officer training yet, you need to do that. I believe the next round is this weekend on Saturday. I believe I already did that last month, but I'm just saying, if you have not done that yet, you need to do so. I'll talk about it more when Jacob and Jim get back to town, but I hope for us to do a fun lunch in August at a time and place to be determined. But since both Jacob and Jim are not here, I'll wait till they get back. Also, one other thing. Our next executive board meeting will be a week from Tuesday night, the 21st. I'll have more details on that as we get closer.
You may have a conflict due to another.
Yeah.
district.
Okay. So I will keep an open mind as far as a date for that. As a date for our executive meeting later this month. Now, as far as attendance goes, in the room, we have Mark Vine. We have Richard Newman, Fernando, Burhan, Kyle, Michelle Cuellar, Richard Cuellar, LaShanta. And online we have Roger Young. And there's truly, of course. Now, to start our celebration of our 250th anniversary of these United States of America, please welcome for our pledge quote, Michelle Cuellar.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Okay, please stand and let's do the pledge together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Join me in the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Since I know we're predominantly men, I didn't think this would go over well. I was going to have us sing the first verse of My Country 'Tis of Thee. How many of you sang that in elementary school? If you're from the States. Burhan, I probably could bet you have not sang that, okay? But that was something also Mr. Vine, same with you. So we'll not sing this morning, so you can give your vocal cords a rest for table topics. I cannot believe, okay, go for it. 250 years. That's okay. Bruce Springsteen. As you saw in the agenda, if you checked your emails, I put Let Freedom Ring. I think of that, if any of you have been to Philadelphia, I think Mark has, and if any of you have you? No? Okay. Richard and I have traveled to different presidents' homes in Ohio. I'm going to go back to Ohio this year and visit some other presidents' homes since there are numerous presidents from Ohio. But the quote that I have chosen today is from George Washington. It says, and think about this in your own lives as well as how our country has gone through things. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. So that is the verse today.
Thank you, Michelle. So now let me introduce the Toastmaster of the meeting, which is yours truly. The 250th anniversary of the United States of America. 250 years ago, a group of colonists or a group of travelers from England to the States, well, we didn't like what the English crown was doing. We thought they were a bunch of tyrants. So we decided we were going to be an independent nation. Our forefathers had great foresight and also wrote this thing called the Declaration of Independence. I'll be reading it to you throughout the meeting, but I'll give you just the start right now. And I think it's very appropriate in our 250th anniversary. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying the foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That's just a sliver of it for right now. Now I want to introduce our roles for this morning. First of all is our joke master, Richard Cuellar.
Rolls for the whole area. Yeah. I was a twist.
Two quick jokes. Why were the fireworks always getting mad? They had a short fuse. What did the American flag say to the Statue of Liberty? Nothing. It just waved.
Sir?
Now let's introduce our word of the day, and that is Kyle Lipstrew.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. You have a cheat sheet today to help with the word of the day. The word of the day is constitutional. I'm going to leave this on the lectern.
Yes.
Constitutional, in accordance with or authorized by a constitution, not necessarily the Constitution. So you can get creative and try and use constitutional. Cheat sheet is there. I will also be counting your ahs and ums and giving a report out at the end today. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kyle. Let us make sure that today all of our actions are constitutional within Toastmasters. Now, let's talk about the person who is both doubling as timer and vote counter today. That would be our distinguished Toastmaster, Fernando Corregano.
Oh, Toastmasters, I am privileged to be the timer this morning constitutionally. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out, if you're speaking, especially if you want to be verbose, I'm going to stop you, or I'm going to give you the green as a go ahead, the yellow, or at green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6, and red at 7. And then you have 30 seconds to cut it off. Otherwise, we'll have to cut you off. And on table topics, it'll be 1 minute for green, minute and a half for yellow, 2 minutes for red, and then 30 seconds again. For evaluations, we have 2 minutes for green, 2.5 for yellow, and 3 minutes for cutting it off. 30 seconds to finish. And then I want you to send the votes to me. We only have one speaker this morning, so we're not going to vote on the speaker, but we can vote on the table topics. So I'm looking forward for that. And don't vote for yourself. All right.
Thank you, Fernando. And I like what Fernando just said at the end. In fact, I try to make it just a personal rule, just for the record. I don't vote for myself. I think that's just unseemly. Let's put it that way. Also, never mind. Never mind. Let's just move on here. Let's talk about our next role today, and that is table topics. He will have extended time up here since we only have one speaker today. That will be Richard Newman.
Thanks, Eric. Yes, it's a small band of merry Toastmasters this morning, but you know what? We'll carry through. We're celebrating a little late. Well, I hope you guys didn't wait until today to celebrate the 4th of July. We're 6 days after, but you know, whatever. We can still celebrate today. And I will, as your table topics master, ask you both some interesting constitutional questions about the Constitution to see if you really know it. Or maybe I'll just ask you what your favorite beer is on 4th of July. Eric, that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to see who answers those questions best.
And lastly, our last role today is our general evaluator. Please welcome Burhan Nasir.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. So I'll be your general evaluator today. My role is to evaluate the speeches, not speeches, evaluate the evaluators as well as the meeting overall. And I am going to go a little bit constitutionally on a limb and maybe evaluate a little bit more as well. So I think there's going to be a small additional segment that I'll add to it. But with that being said, one thing you can also vote for the chair as well. So I am in the running, and I would not vote for myself. And given that I have not been in the meetings for the last few weeks, Kyle, just could you confirm our vote counter is the ums and ahs? Is that the scoring goes like golf scores or soccer scores? All right, thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Burhan. Before we get into our speakers today, to our speaker today, and I'll read you just a little more of the Declaration of Independence, just so maybe you'll remember going forward. Prudence indeed will dictate that government long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, their duty, to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their system of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having to direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. And now, let's move on to our speech this morning. We have one speaker this morning. Mark, and our speaker is currently undertaking a level 5 pathway in visionary communication with a view to completing the requirements for his distinguished Toastmasters. However, every now and then, sometimes he just has to give a speech just for the pure hell of it, and because it's fun and has a clear line of sight with the theme of the day, which is freedom.
Here we go.
The following is a 5 to 7 minute speech regarding the special relationship with the United States and the United Kingdom, while at the same time recognizing the cultural differences between these two great and historic nations. Please welcome our speaker this morning, Mark Vine.
Before you start the time, can I just have you stand next to the screen for 1 minute just for a photo op? First, we have a moment. Ready? Can we turn this on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to see
One.
the wall.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, Toastmasters. I know we haven't got any guests this morning. Before I start, if you could just leave the timer for a second, I just want to recognise one of our fellow Toastmasters who is no longer with us. That's Bob Galbraith. I've known him for the last 3 or 4 years now, and he became a big part of my life, a big part of all our lives. Wonderful man, a real gentleman, and he turns out he's my drinking buddy as well, even though he didn't drink. So which is kind of interesting because the best guy. It was. On a Friday, my routine was I'd go to the nursing home, and he'd always have a stash of beer inside the refrigerator. and I warned every single one of you, do not touch my beers. But no, he was a true gentleman. Great Toastmaster. I really, it's funny how you kind of miss people at the strangest times. It's like normally I'll be ringing up saying, mate, for God's sake, you've got to get used to this Zoom thing. Come on, get used to it. Get onto the thing. And then all of a sudden somebody come in and wheel him away, And then I'll miss him this afternoon when I go drive past the nursing home. But I think he's in a better place now, guys. He really was. He wasn't happy. The last time I see him was very, very upsetting. He wasn't aware where he was at, screaming for help, looking to me to break him out of the nursing home, calling for the police. I just came away in tears, guys. I really did. It was just, but I'm not going to remember him like that. I'm going to remember him as our fellow Toastmaster standing here, telling about his wonderful life with his wife and his time up in Canada and all those wonderful things. And I'll let you know when the funeral's going to be, guys. So he was 88. He was actually, what was his birthday actually falls on a holiday, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So.
His wife is still alive, right?
She's that's the irony. He was, yeah, he was actually, she was actually nursing him when he passed away, believe it or not, mate. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, well, so that's pretty much all I've got to say, guys. I think. Okay, I'll get on with the speech.
Catch your breath.
Yeah, let's just do this, right? Yeah, but yeah. But okay, let's start this thing. So this morning, guys, it's all about, it's all about the American independence. Obviously, I'm one of the redcoats, so to speak, really. So, but it's all about, and I've actually put the independence because we've got a lot of common cultural things that, we all speak English, even though America hasn't got its own language, believe it or not. It's not got its own language, which is kind of interesting. And with that in mind, let's see if this works. Does it work, yeah? Just beautiful.
No. It's all. Sorry. Oh, that's on.
Technology, guys. Technology. So, but is this gonna, oh, there you go. Winston Churchill, he couldn't have put it any better back in the day. He said that Britain and America are two countries separated by the same language. And we've got differences in terms of our language. And I'll go into that a little bit now. There you go. While England, English connects both nations, uses of spelling, there are differences. So, we wear trainers, which you guys call sneakers. We eat chips. I mean, chips for you are out of a bag, but for you, it's fries. We put on our trousers, but you say put on your pants. So that's a little bit of a difference. Spelling, you guys have actually taken, and this was interesting because I think this was one of the things that you learn with we put these speeches together, is that they took the U out because it was, who was this? Webster? I think his name was Neil Webster. He wanted to make the American language very independent from English, so he took the U out, which is kind of interesting. And the pronunciation, I don't know what this means, but actions are non-rhetoric. So we take the N word out like car. So, but there are other differences. So communication style. You're going to hear that a lot, guys. People from England are reserved or indirect. We value politeness. We really do. And people frequently use, we kind of ridicule ourselves, if you know what I mean. Whereas in America, yeah, okay, but people over here are more open and direct. So people are a lot more open and direct. And friendliness is kind of the tone, really. People are in your face, all the time. It's really, really nice, and that's what I love about this country. Even interacting with strangers. Sense of humor. Where would we be without a sense of humor, guys? Yeah. Our sense of humor. You get me, guys. We're sarcasm is the basis for all our sense of humor. It really is. We call it banter. Give it a nice name. We use dry wit. We use, and we use that as part of forming our social bonds. And whereas American humor, I'll be honest with you guys, I never really got some of these American shows that came over to England. I really didn't. Things like what was it, soap and places like that. Where sarcasm, you do have a sense of sarcasm, but it's more direct, it's more upfront, it's more in your face. Okay. And daily life and dining. Where would we? Don't self, guys. Don't self. Try not to be too clever for yourself. Whereas it's something that people don't get their heads around over here. You very heavily rely on tipping. You really do. I mean, it's very common practice. You've got to pay 15, 20%, for any kind of service. Whereas over in England, they actually paid them a standard wage. So any other tip is and I kind of get it because you want to pay for good value. You want good service, don't you? So you tend to pay for that. So, sorry. So culture, so it's kind of mandatory. I remember my wife actually going for a haircut when we went to Vegas, and she did tip the lady that was doing her hair for the wedding the next day. And my wife said, "You better get back there because you're going to look like somebody out the Addams family before you know it." Yeah. So workplace culture, it's something very different. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't got it, mate. So it's very different over here. I remember when I first came over to England, to America, they sat me down. They said, "We're going to give you 20 days vacation." Oh, yeah. Okay. And they thought that was really good. I was going, you do realize that I have 31 days vacation plus holidays and all that. So I'm away from the office for at least 40 days to go. How'd you get anything done?
Yeah.
So look, and it's just like, and we actually get paid, when we're on vacation as well. And when we have a conversation, we normally talk about the weather and how crappy it is. Over here, it was the first time I actually came across the word at-work state. So you can find money for any reason whatsoever, if you wanted to. It's not really. It's social dynamic. In England, we tend to, we form relationships slower, if you know what I mean. So we tend to, we value our friendships. It's a deeper feeling, I suppose, in terms. So it's a steady process. So and we've also got a class structure, which, albeit, nobody really says out loud, but it's kind of there, if you know what I mean. So you've got the haves, not. Whereas over here, it's very, very different. Very fast moving. Socializing happens across a wider, and the difference with your class structure, well, the class structure over here is dependent on how much money you got in your pocket. That seems to be happening. Patriotism. This is my favorite subject, guys, and it's something that I really like over here. Is that I'm going to go over time, aren't I, mate? But that's the thing. So we're kind of understated in England, if you know what I mean. It's kind of we only get the flags out for special events like a Jubilee or the Queen's celebration, something like that. That's the only time we tend to get the flags out. But over here, I mean, we wear the flags with pride, and we're very, very patriotic about our country, which is something very, very important to me. Let's see. Oh, I did it just in time. That's all right. Yeah. That did not go to plan, guys. But yeah, that's interesting, guys. So appreciate your time. Appreciate you listening to me. So thank you very much, my friend. Cheers, buddy. That's so very well.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Timer, can we have 1 minute on the clock, please? So we can send our feedback to Mark. And while people are doing that, I'll read just a few of the grievances against the crown that the people here in the States had against the king. To prove this, let the facts submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation until his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for accommodation, thank you, Fernando, of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. That's just a few of the grievances. And with that being said, I will now hand the floor over to our general evaluator for this meeting, and he is Burhan Nasir.
Thank you, Eric. So I would like to get started with our next section of the meeting. That will be our table topics. And for that, I would like to invite Miss Dr. Richard Newman. Good job, though.
Oh, wait. Where did that mean?
I'll take it. The honorary doctorate of something of July 10th. Oh, wow, this is great. I love this. I do really like this holiday. We had a great weekend. I hope everyone else did as well. And I think it's really important for us to look back at these things. Eric, you provided some interesting context to our meeting with this Declaration of Independence, which is what that date really means. I don't know if everybody knows that. It's been kind of interesting. I've seen some things where they do street interviews with normal people, and they don't know what July 4th, 1776 means, which is a little sad. But we will get into our table topics. I'm curious to get your perspective on some of these things, and we won't actually get into constitutional law this morning. We'll talk about some other things this morning. And my first question does have to do with the Declaration of Independence, because it's got a really interesting phrase of three things that it says that our Creator has, I believe, imbued us with unalienable rights, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Roger, what's that mean to you?
Thank you for the question, Richard. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does that really mean? Well, I'd have to say we're all just here on this planet to, I guess, do the best for ourselves, our family, to leave some legacy. I turned 51 in April, and in my career, I've helped a lot of people, but that's actually what sustained me, is that I'm not to that point now where I've accomplished some goals that I had set for myself, and now that I find that through my work, I'm able to help people and help them achieve the dream of home ownership, and helping them through their credit or education or just that, and that's sustained me and given me a real purpose in that. It's a great feeling, and it's powerful in that I can change somebody's financial future just by talking to them on the phone, and making a big difference in their lives. In that, So but that's it. So that's really what I think life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is. That finding a purpose in life. Back to you.
Thank you for that. The interesting thing is, I don't know about you guys. I've found some value when I was a young man. I didn't really get much out of history. My dad was a big history buff, but lately I've found myself reading some biographies of our founding fathers. Just finished one of Benjamin Franklin, and it changed my opinion about him. But what was interesting is that specific, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and all the debates and arguments that they went through, I found pretty fascinating. And so let me ask you this, Fernando, what is the value of history?
So Toastmaster, or Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, what is the value of history? I think there's a tremendous value in history. we can actually look at what people did in the past and say to ourselves, do we want to repeat that? And the problem is that most of us don't look at history, and we keep repeating the same things. We keep making the same mistakes, unfortunately. But when you look at going back to the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, you have to admit that that was really, really an eye-opener for them at that particular time, because the only references they had were about kings or dictators or whatever, governments that were run by one or two persons. And yet they had this idea about governing ourselves with numerous people. Very creative, actually. And you're right, Mr. Table Topics Master. They argued about it. And here's the interesting part about it, that it came out. I mean, they actually implemented all the rules and regulations, et cetera, for it. So I just give them a great ovation for coming up with something that good. And it's amazing that not more countries have modeled after that. I really think that it's unfortunate that there are still so many countries that are under a single person rule, and they don't have that kind of freedom. They really don't understand what freedom is. But in this case, I'm sure glad I was born here. Right?
Now we're going to talk a little bit more about freedoms. I got to know, some folks are do-it-yourselfers, and some folks would rather have someone else just do it. Right? I mean, that's pretty much the case. We have some people, and then there's some tasks that you are happy to do it yourself, but you'd rather outsource it. And so, what are we talking about for 4th of July? What we're really talking about is, is fireworks, right? I mean, I was in that day, and now I've gotten too old, I guess, for the joy of doing it myself. Kyle, I have a feeling that you outsourced, but maybe you can tell me about a time when you did it yourself on fireworks.
Topics Master. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. For fireworks of recent, you are correct. I have been an outsourcer. I think as you get older and wiser and read a little bit more of the news, your risk profile changes for several reasons. I remember, I think it was Jason Pierre-Paul was a New York Giants player, lineman, making millions of dollars, got his own DIY fireworks that a millionaire can afford, and blew his hand apart and played the rest of his career with a club on his hand. And so hearing things like that, having the close calls that I did as a teenager, you could probably guess. I am an outsourcer now. I do like to do the small stuff, especially with the kids. It's a part of the tradition. It's very fun. It's a little bit of risk is okay. Finding the right boundaries. So nowadays, mostly an outsourcer, but have had some fun times with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. The interesting thing is I still get a lot of joy watching other dumb people do it themselves on video, though. Right? Whatever. It's Michelle, you lit just a dim little candle from my past. I actually had a lot of music in my background, and for those of you that might not know, I played the tuba. One of the most difficult tuba pieces in creation
is actually Stars and Stripes Forever. That is very usually tuba pieces are the more the simple bump, 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 but not Stars and Stripes Forever. And so music, I always enjoyed actually a lot of the marches and the traditional music this time of year. My wife doesn't care for the classical music quite as much, but I really always liked the symphonic music and especially those pieces because I could hear that. I was really impressed with those tuba players that could play those pieces. And music, I think, does evoke emotions. And this leads me to my question. If you're ready, LaShanta, I want to catch your attention because I know you're preparing your evaluation. Music. What is your favorite music to listen to this time of year? LaShanta? Everybody's getting a chance today. I'm telling you. Nobody's getting out of the table topic this morning.
Oh, wow. Hi. I didn't think I would be up so soon, but hey. Thank you, Richard. I love music, so that was perfect. Even though I wasn't expecting it, I love music. To say the least, I love all genres of music, like country, western, gospel, rap, not really, old rap. Right, when I was a teenager, that kind of rap. But the new stuff, I don't even listen to it. But there are catchy tunes that catch my attention. But generally, I'm easy listening, jazz. I was a former alto saxophone player in middle school. And to be a girl with that instrument, and I was first chair, I just knew I was just all of that. I was just, yeah, and all the guys, they didn't really like me because I was better than them. Oh, well, go figure. But as a result of being a rebellious teenager, I let that go. In March, I stayed in marching band till 10th grade, and then I was rebelling against my mom because she didn't let me go to the high school I wanted to go to, and all of that. Oh God, I need a therapy session. So as a result of it, I was introduced to music early on, always in church, singing in the choir. I still love to sing in the choir, and also being a part of just as a musician, because I consider myself a musician. I play the tambourine as well, so in church, and so that was a good question.
Oh, thank you, LaShanta. Great answer. I cannot go a question session without asking a very important question because this leads into so many different things because it's really important. I don't know anybody that doesn't think about these things. These are really important things around the 4th of July. And that is food. Okay, so there was always a fairly regular tradition. We always cooked out for 4th of July, and there's not much that I didn't like. I liked it all, but my dad always made these great ribs that I attempted to make last weekend. They came out okay, not as good as I remember him making. But Eric, what would you say is your favorite 4th of July food?
Fellow Toastmasters. I'm a carnivore, so The 4th of July is perfect in that sense. I don't care what kind of meat it is, hot dogs, hamburgers, ribs, all of it's fine. I will say the one side dish I enjoy, probably aside from maybe mashed potatoes, is probably baked beans. If baked beans, when done right, are really hard to beat with any kind of combined with any 4th of July dish. Now, the one I will throw in this too, the one thing that may surprise you, considering that it's kind of a summery fruit, I'm not a huge watermelon person. It's just not it just doesn't sing well with me for whatever reason. I like most fruit, but I'm not a watermelon person. But generally speaking, most 4th of July things, considering most of us have meat on the 4th of July, I'm cool with. And one last thing, my favorite type of barbecue, believe it or not, is not Texas brisket, although that's very good. I'm a Midwest Plains guy. So I prefer the Kansas City and St. Louis style ribs. It's a matter of preference, but that's what I prefer. Mr. Tabletop, it's now.
Yes, I'm gonna try that, Eric. I'm going to Omaha next week. We're gonna have to talk for a second. On a little more serious note, well, we have a lot of time. I think nobody's escaping this morning. I really should know. Everybody's free to give an answer. This idea of Burhan talked about it earlier, is this idea of a patriot. Richard, what's your idea of a patriot? And when is it a good thing or not a good thing? Be a patriot. Interesting question.
I guess if you were physically fit to get on the football team of a New England Patriot, that would be If you're physically fit, like what's this, Tom Brady, that would be a good patriot. He is the ultimate patriot. Just kidding. That's a really good question. I think, well, that's kind of who we are though, right? The freedom to do and be whatever you want to be in this country, but knowing and acknowledging that it is the country that gives you the freedom to do these things. It is knowing that it's this flag that gives you those freedoms. It's knowing that this flag, people fought and died for the freedoms that we have, acknowledging that that's what gave me the freedom to do these things. It's saying that I'm part of a bigger, better, greater thing. And it's my part to contribute to that bigger, better, greater thing. And it's important and value and intrinsic to them from a heartfelt way that allows them to pass that on to family members so that it continues and it builds on the legacy of what the sacrifice that these people made to get us here. That's what patriots.
Thanks, Richard. Well, every year we always do we have a fairly traditional year every year. And what I'm curious about is because I've seen this from our Toastmasters couple as a regular thing. Michelle, how did you guys get into this whole Bernie trip? Annual Bernie trip. Just going, I think, year. Just part of that.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Me, Partisan Bernie. I love the hill country. If you didn't know, I'm from Ohio originally, and I used to run cross country, so I used to be an athlete in my former years. Houston is so flat. I may not be I may not be running races, but I like to hike and I like the hill country. There's something about it, there's a comfort I feel. Bernie has become tradition for us. It's really funny that I used to be in choir, former choir director now lives in Bernie. I never see him when I go, but I meet lots of people there and I love Bernie. If I had the money and I didn't have little babies here, like grandbabies, I would love to move to Bernie. We've been going July 4th and praise God, last year I was very busy with work. We did not go when the floods happened. Because that was very devastating with all the lives lost and just nature. But Bernie is something that we go, I enjoy going with my honey. We stop along the way at Buc-ee's in Columbus, Texas. I love to walk the square in Columbus. And if you've never been to Bernie, I encourage you. It's the hill country. It's 30 minutes away from Fredericksburg. It's 15 minutes away from Comfort. And they also have the day after Thanksgiving, they have a great Christmas celebration. They shut the street down and it's a Germantown. And it's just a fun time. And if you didn't know this about me either, my maiden name is Klein. I'm German.
German by heritage, that's right. Wow, very good. Now we know where the great parade is in Bernie, right? So now we're down to our two naturalized guys, right? I didn't think about that. I was like, oh, but and this is the thing that I think that many citizens that are born in the USA don't necessarily appreciate some of these things. And so I would like to get your opinion about this time of year and about what you really value in the USA. Veron?
Thank you for that question, Richard. And I suppose that the slip up of the doctorates was not incidental because you have been asking really good questions. So what does it mean to me, or what is that I appreciate about America? There are just so many things. I think that really a place where we are able to really, I think that what is the first thing that just comes to mind is really freedom, right? And I think that freedom in a true sense, not necessarily, just something that like we are able to just really pursue our goals, but then also have the freedom to be able to put the collective good above individual. And I do kind of see that as well. So I think that, but from a country standpoint, I think we have actually got ourselves to a point where I guess that I today for some reason I'm kind of like speechless. I don't know. I think I'm really conflicted a little bit about our stated objectives and our course that we are at, right? Even though there's a bigger contrast, what I do see is that in the undercurrent, the essence of our liberty and pursuit of happiness, as well as the togetherness, is not really. It is not shaken, and I think that's like one thing that I love and I admire about it. I think it like reinforces my faith and trust in America, and I think that actually, withstanding with a lot of things, is just one of the most beautiful things. And yeah, I just couldn't really find the words today, but thank you.
All right, so one last question, because I think I got time. So I've been seeing these videos. So the cool thing about hosting the World Cup is we've been able to host a lot of people, and I was hoping, I know in Texas, and I know specifically in Texas that we've been probably very hospitable, and I reckon that that folks that have come into Dallas or Houston area have been received well. I would hope that we're as hospitable as I think we are. And I hope that that's the case other places. Now, that what I'm getting to is I've seen these, I don't know, unfortunately, I probably spend a little too much time on YouTube, but I see these YouTube videos of Europeans and Brits that come in, and they're just amazed at some of the different things that we have here in the US. Some of it's pretty indulgent, but they also comment on the fact that people are pretty friendly and things like that. And and I know you've had visitors in, Mark. So my question is where do you take visitors when they come into the country?
Dude, yeah, we get a lot of visitors. One of our friends actually commented we were like a tourist people because we know everyone and all this shit. For me, a prerequisite would be NASA. Bookies, obviously, we would take people to Bookies. San Antonio. I mean, Texas is just awesome, guys. I mean, Bookies is awesome. We absolutely, I love it. And it's interesting because you talk about people, how some people get America and some people don't. You know, well, I mean, I absolutely love the country, man. I came here back in the 80s. I was in Florida for a little while, and I absolutely fell in love with the USA. But we had one of my daughter's boyfriends. He came over, and he's one of these English people, mate. I mean, I did not like him, and that wasn't because he was dating my daughter. It's because the guy was an absolute idiot. He really was an absolute idiot. And he actually came to England. He came to America. We welcomed him into our home. And he was very, very judgmental. He said, he was looking at how wasteful we are. Something you said there, how wasteful we were. I was going, you know what, mate? I've got 2 weeks of this nonsense. If you want to get on that plane and fly it off right now, mate, go have it, had it. But it was interesting. I was going to go to a hunting trip. I was going to go on a hunting trip. And my idea was going to be the perfect crime. I was going to invite him to the hunting trip. I was going to say to him, "Hey, here's a good joke. Put these antlers on your head and go stand by the corn feeder. You'll be totally fine. They'll think it's really funny." And then I'll be standing there on Dateline saying, "I don't know what he was thinking. Why would he do such a stupid thing?" So that was kind of my perfect crime. But I'm very, very proud of the country. I'm very proud when people come over and they get it like I do. And it's a great country, guys, and we should really appreciate what a fantastic place we live. So thank you for the question. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we've been through everybody. How did we do, Fernando, on our speakers?
We did extremely well. Everybody qualified.
Okay. All right. Well, send your vote to Fernando then. He's got a lot to choose from. Back to you, Farhan.
All right, well, that was a really good constitutional table topics. Thank you, Richard. All right, moving on to our next section, which would be the evaluation. I would like to call upon our next evaluator for the speech. So the speech for Mark will be evaluated by LaShanta Greenwood. All right. Drum roll.
Thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, and Mark. Thank you so much for your contribution. To today's speech was wonderful. There, you had a very unique perspective. I loved it. And out of everyone in the room, you only had this perspective because you actually are a citizen of England and America. And so to bring in that uniqueness of a comparison of just the different things that we have not even thought about, something as simple as the spelling of words, how we use our vocabulary, the different things that you brought out in your speech. It was enlightening, very informative, and also very eye-opening on just some things we hadn't even considered. So that was a really some great points. And we are all products of, well, not products, but we are all, I don't even want to say the word victims of technology. It can be a friend and a foe. And we saw that today with your technology and the use of music. Of course, with the table topics, I just mentioned how much I love music. And so my ears perked up. But at some point, it became a distraction. And so it broke up the flow and made the speech fragmented. But as we are all challenged and we're all working together to learn and grow in public speaking, and also as in Toastmasters, that is something we can definitely work on. With that being said, again, the music, that was an awesome idea. Your PowerPoint was very beautiful to look at, very informative, very clear, and easy to read and understand. There was something I would caution every one of us to do, and that's to not set ourselves up with an emotional roller coaster. With the weight of Bob's passing, that was really heavy, and it still is, because I met him just one time, but he made an impression on me even then as being a great person. But with the heaviness of that, and then having to go right into performance mode, it was kind of, that was really a lot for yourself. So give yourself some grace and do that at the beginning, maybe at the meeting, or at the end of the meeting to give us information. Because you almost went from tears to now you got to do something. So you didn't give yourself enough time to just breathe. So other than that, awesome job. And I would encourage you to keep up the good work.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for a great evaluation. I think this is one evaluator, so I will get to evaluate the evaluator as well as the general meeting. And by the way, please do send your votes to
I've only received one vote.
Fernando.
Okay.
Yeah, we are staying in this room until all votes are received. So
And I
please
believe
do that immediately, and you
And I
also.
believe the person voted for himself.
Please do your votes and send it to Fernando. Let me offer a,
We need to vote for the chair of the meeting for it.
yes,
Yeah.
and for the chair, you are voting for Eric Sinhorst, Richard Newman, and yours truly, up here. Did I miss anybody else for the chair? Okay. Note to self that have a breakfast before coming to the meeting, because I am a little bit of if I am slow. Regarding the evaluation, so let me first go with evaluating Lashanta, your evaluation. Thank you very much for a great evaluation. I think that you did a very comprehensive evaluation, providing Mark some constructive feedback, as well as really helping him understand that, well, it was kind of obvious around the distraction on the meeting, but then just really be able to provide that. But also, more importantly, you acknowledge the what happened before the speech, as well as kind of really help him understand that process, that how that could actually affect the overall mood and the flow of his own meeting. So, but I think overall, both the speakers did well, and then your feedback. Generally, your feedback was very well constructed, as well as your articulation was really spot on. I think that every word was very measured, as well as well spoken. You do actually come across as somebody who actually not only is very keen on music, but then also has a very good stage presence, and that actually showed in the overall evaluation as well. So I think that was probably one of the really nicer evaluations that I've actually seen in a while. So thank you. Regarding the evaluation of the general meeting, I think we remain mostly constitutional. I think it was a very good, we started right on time, and also recognizing there were some last minute shift because of one of the speaker wasn't able to make it, but then the communication was very fluent before the meeting, and that was really nice. Michelle, you were able to also let Roger know that he won't not have to be evaluating, so that way he could focus on the other aspects. So I think overall those were great. The room is good as well. I think we have a little bit of a lighter presence today. And I understand that also it was like holiday week as well before. But apart from that, I think overall the meeting was great. Now, as to the word, the grammarian report. Yes, I would like to. Okay, sure. So I would like to call upon the grammarian for the grammarian report, and then after that, I will do. Yeah.
No, I'm not Kyle. Kyle had to step out. He had somebody coming to his house he had to meet. Constitutional. I know that I didn't do very well in putting that in my speech or in my presentation. Eric, he had you as one time you said it, Fernando said it one time, Richard Newman said it twice, Burhan said it 3 times, and Richard Cuellar said it once. So very nicely done. Was there anyone else who said constitutional that was not noted here? Regarding ahs and ums, because we have no visitors, because we are all members in the room, I'm just going to tell you like it is. And I wasn't even the grammarian or counter till the end, but I do have some numbers here. Let's see here. Lashanta, I had 4 times. And so 3 times. I did like when you said friend or foe. Those were my little notes. Let's see here. Mark Vine, a couple times. He has 3 times. I probably believe it's more than that, but we'll give him some grace because that was his first time being grammarian. Burhan, you're always very eloquent. This time, after a few words, you would say you would say it. You did it quite often, and you're very eloquent with what you say, but I noticed it a lot. Just to bring it to your attention, just remember, I tell people this all the time, keep your mouth closed, put your thoughts together, then speak. Because we tend to say it at a beginning of a sentence or a phrase. So Burhan, 24, 1 and the twice. When we say like the double, I call them like a double click when you say the word twice. So that is my report. Back to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that evaluation. I did actually take the crown for ums and ahs. Had a bit of a hunch about it, but all good. Work on it. My motivation to keep coming back more frequently, right?
A little rusty.
Yes, a little. You're generous there, Fernando. I think before we pass it back to our Toastmaster, I think I would like to really also acknowledge that and perhaps why I was also a bit unable to really put my thoughts together during the political topics is that because my thoughts were with one of our dearest friends, Bob, that Mark mentioned. I think before I speak about Bob, I do want to recognize, I want to evaluate our overall club. It's been 3 years I walked in here and I was very nervous. I think that if it wasn't for the horses and the connection that I had with the horses, I would not be walking in. But then I think I really developed a bond and connection with each and every one of our members. And Bob was a anchor, like, in a sense that I kind of looked up that when I look at Bob, he was consistent. He was loving and caring. And the very first speech I remember was when he actually gave a speech about his love story with his wife and his level of loyalty, patriotism, like that is the embodiment of what I see America is. And I was privileged that we talked about the Constitution. I think that I was privileged to have two artifacts from Bob that he shared with me, and I would like to just really share. One is this picture of him at 8 years old or 10 years old riding his horse. And this was an advertisement of being able to take the instructions. So the riding instructions were $1.50 at that time, and the rental of the horse is $1. Me, a horse owner, I'm paying about $1,000 a month to do that, just to give you an idea. But the connection.
That's Uber, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. He shared that with me, and also just really, he had that way of being able to like really connect with people.
Yeah.
But then more importantly, he did actually also share a poem that he wrote in his autobiography and his own paper. And I actually keep this with me in a treasure chest where I keep all my valuables.
Cool.
And I pulled that out today because I do think that just like the Constitution was something that our founding fathers have written down, and I do think that that is actually in every American one way or the other. And what Bob said was so beautifully. He said that the final poem I have chosen to include in my little autobiography explains some of my philosophy. What really matters? These are in Bob's words. Christian, Muslim, Jew. Does this include you? If so, the differences in our faith, I need not be shown. For who we worship is already known. Whichever your creed, in one God you believe. Why then is it our differences we perceive? For if any of us be right, then there is only one God on which we all set our sight. That you worship him differently, I should not care. For it must be the same God that we all share. As you worship the God in your way, and I in mine, remember this, that he claims us all as thine. Essentially, when I think of America, I think about united we stand, divided we fall. And that is really what I want. And I didn't want to take the spotlight from Bob, and hence I just couldn't really bring that up earlier. Thank you. With that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Burhan. And since we're talking about Bob, I'm gonna make an admission. As president, I'll take responsibility. I dropped the ball. I was going to do a moment of silence for Bob at the beginning of our meeting. I didn't do that. So since we have him on our minds, let us do a moment of silence and prayers for Bob and his family. Thank you. Now, we have an agenda to do for next week. It's what is your why? So Michelle, would you like to at least start the agenda for next week?
Yes, thank you, Eric. I know we're running behind. So next week, what is your why? I needed I'm speaking next week and I don't have any other roles filled at this time, so holler out.
Linda may speak next week.
Okay, well, okay, so let's not pick another speaker at this time.
Yeah.
So let's see if she'll fill the role.
Yeah.
Is there a role that I can put you in? And just to let everyone know, I'm keeping track of we need to try to do a variety of roles.
Mhm.
So if you do one role all the time, then we want to make sure we mix it up.
I think I would like to do GE next week.
Okay, so I'm gonna put Eric. Anyone else?
That's myself, I can do Toastmasters and all.
Okay, that would be great as our, what is your why? So this has to do with our Toastmasters, why you're in Toastmasters, as it's a new fiscal year. I like to start it out, especially as your new VPE. So as our immediate past Division L Director, that is great. Toastmaster for Mark. Anyone else like to do a role? Burhan, will you be here? What would you like to do?
Anything.
Word of the day. Table. huh?
I'll be online.
Okay, what would you like to do?
And I should be on.
Okay.
Just put me on a minor role.
Okay, I'll figure that out. Go ahead. Table topics. Okay, table topics, Burhan. LaShanta, what can I get you to do? Okay, very good. And a quote? Okay. Very good. Richard Cuellar. Pick one. You're evaluating me? But, let's see, hanging by the news. Okay. Okay, enough, huh? Okay. Oh, good. He needs to become a better listener. Okay, Richard Cuellar. Okay. this- Okay, we may have to hold off. I need to see if Linda's going to give a speech. So I'll get back with you when I talk to her.
What is it?
Huh? See, theme is what is your why regarding Toastmasters? Why are you in Toastmasters? Why do you stay in Toastmasters? We need to complete our club success plan in regards to what we're wanting to do as VPE. That's something I'm going to talk about as we look at what your goal is for this year. Eric, back to you. A word.
Thank you, Michelle. And just remember, for those who need, one last reminder, for those who have not completed officer training, the next round of that is tomorrow. Our executive board meeting is not far off after that, date to be determined. And with that,
Wait, the
awards, are we ready, Fernando?
Yeah, we are. All right. Our best speaker, Mark Line. Our best evaluator, LaTonka. Our best chair, Richard Newman. And our best table topics master, Richard Cuellar. Yay.
All right. That will conclude our meeting. I hope you have a safe and wonderful week. We'll see you here next Friday.